welcome. I'm your host.
Pocket Hammerstock.
Oh, get out.
Mwah. Okay, this is Real Housewives of New York. Mind Your Own Business, season something, episode 5. And I can summarize the entire episode here in 10 seconds. Everybody snipes at each other in Atlantic City. End of episode. So it starts off with...
How do you watch this?
Oh, this is like I'm sorry, it's not Mind Your Own episode. It's Double Down on Delusion. Oh my gosh, I was going to recap the wrong show. Season 7, episode 6. Should I start that over?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so... I guess Sonia has a family emergency, so Heather, Dorinda, and Kristen show up, and instead of her being like, I have a family emergency, I'm going to be in my bedroom figuring this out, she was like, you have to stay in my foyer. But they kept showing him outside, and I'm like, that's not where a foyer is. Shh, John, come on. Anyway, and then Ramona gets to use the bathroom, and then Heather's just hot, and eventually...
They kept saying foyer.
Did they keep saying foyer?
Yeah.
Okay. I was all confused by that. Anyway, and then they finally get the car shows up and everyone's angry, and then Bethany shows up and says, I'm sorry. And it was like really intense and kind of weird. I kind of found it endearing, but then after a while, it was kind of a little weird. Anyway, Luann and Carol don't join them in the limo. Sonia eventually shows up and is like, excuses, I don't know who these people are that think they belong in my home. And I'm like, okay, that's a little much, Princess Di. Like, this is kind of weird.
But she parties with dead people. And
I know. Anyway, we're going to get there in a while. So anyway, Sonia and Heather fight, and then Bethany's like trying to run interference with Sonia. She's like, Sonia, stop. And Sonia's like, I have people in Dubai who invite me over, and I'm famous, and I'm good. And I'm like, everybody is amped like up to 12, repeats everything a dozen times, and no one listens. And they just make little subtle remarks. You're not from Europe, you're from Connecticut. And it was just constant the whole time. And then Heather shows up late to dinner, and Bethany's like, I don't care if you're late or not, but, you know, if you're going to call out on one person, you have to call out another. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're clearly so above the sniping, but except for when you want to snipe. And then Sonia goes at it. Again, with Bethany's like, you need to stop, and then she's like crying because she's drunk and she's hurt, and you know, and then they go out partying, and then Sonia's really drunk, and then everybody's kind of like staying away from her because she's like on one of her tears, and then Dorinda's like, I don't get the rest of these girls that are totally blowing off Sonia. I thought they were friends, and I'm like, I don't even need your attitude, Dorinda. Like, we don't need you to like show up out of nowhere and be all judgy. And then she's mean to Sonia, so I'm like, oh yeah, you're such a better person than everybody else, even though you're being kind of snarky and rude to Sonia. And then Sonia's like talking about how she's partying with Madonna all the time and JJ Kennedy, and she's
a model for the Arab Emirates.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, he's been dead for like 10 years, so probably not recently. Anyway, in the morning...
But she's famous and rich and bankrupt.
I mean, literally nothing happened this episode. Like, nothing happened. It was just snide remarks.
Well, Bethany was bitching about giving half her stuff away.
Okay, wait.
Every person who ever has been married goes through that, and divorced.
Not everybody who's been married goes through
and then divorced.
Okay, well, anyway, so in the morning, everybody's like, blah, 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 and then they're like, poke, 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 and then Bethany's like, here, I want to talk to you, Sonia, and they go to their room. And she basically says, Sonia, you have a problem. You need to talk to someone. And then Sonia's response in interview is like, well, that's really nice. You know, I understand Bethany, but she's putting all her problems on me. And I'm thinking, you are still, like, Bethany definitely has her problems. She's definitely, if I were her good friend, my advice to be with her is like, I know the money stuff's really hard. I know the divorce is, but this does not make you look good. People don't know. People aren't, you know, all people know is that you made like 100 million. So hearing you say you lost $1 million out of 100 million, they're just not sympathetic. Like, they're just not. So you need to just like shut that down. You can talk to me. You can talk to your psychologist. That's the advice I would give her as a friend. Okay, that's my Bethany advice as a friend. Like, she needs to cut that out. She can talk about how difficult it is because a divorce is difficult, but then, like, after that, shut it down. Don't talk about the millions of this and the millions of that because everybody else is just dying. Sonia, on the other hand, has been divorced for 10 years. And even though a divorce is awful, at some point people do reach their point where they're like, yeah, my immediate sympathy, like for you acting like a lunatic every episode, has run out. While I do enjoy listening to Sonia's delusional rantings about her business, I don't like listening to her delusional rantings about how mean everybody else is. Did you want to add anything?
No.
Okay. See you next week, guys.